Yesterday, President Uhuru crossed over for a working lunch meeting with his deputy president, William Ruto. Yeah. This is what you call confusion. I know that somebody somewhere has completely given up and probably said something like, "Wake me up when all this drama is over because I'm getting dizzy." Okay, let's break it down. One local newspaper called the president's walk across to the deputy president's office a peace walk. Several reports that I have seen have insinuated that the purpose of the meeting was to calm the very violent, raging waters within the Jubilee party, to bring peace, to end what appears to be a standoff between the president and his deputy. And that may seem the most logical explanation to explain the events of yesterday, but I don't agree. My advice, if you want to analyze politics correctly, never trust politicians when they do something in public. Never ever. Instead, trust their actions behind the scenes. Trust their deliberate actions, against somebody or against each other. You'll be on the right track when you do that. But photo opportunities, photo opportunities will always get you very confused. I want you to remember one thing. A deputy president having a meeting with the president should be normal. It shouldn't be a photo opportunity. Indeed, it should be happening all the time, several times during the day. But when this becomes big news, headlines across the country, then you know something is wrong here. Picture this. Your neighbor is having a discussion with his wife out in the garden, behind the house. They're sitting down and discussing something over tea. You look through the fence and you see this. Well, what's your reaction? That's normal. However, if your neighbor kicked out his wife, out of the house 6 months ago, and then you peep through the fence, you see them discussing in the garden, that's very big news. That is headline breaking news in the neighborhood. And that is why precisely, the president meeting with his deputy, which should be normal, has become screaming headlines right across the country called Kenya. Because it is now clear it is not business as usual. There is something very wrong. Now, pioneers on this channel, the people subscribed very early, will remember that I started talking about this problem between the president and his deputy in early 2017, even before the general elections. And of course, nobody believed. Indeed, I lost a few subscribers. Chris, what are you telling us? What are you cooking? Jubilee is solid. You'll wait for Jubilee to collapse forever. Now, my reason for bringing that up is not to chest thump or to praise myself. No. The reason why I'm bringing that up is to remind you how dangerous it is to analyze politics and the political situation by what you see in public. That will never work. You'll always get it wrong. This is very important to keep in mind as we proceed further and look a little deeper into what is really happening here. And let us start with something that happened behind the scenes. It was public, but not many people took note of it. During this meeting between the president and his deputy, the president turned the deputy president's office into a studio. Yes. The president had an interview, cameras and all and lights and so on, with the International Coffee Council media team for its archives. You can see that photograph on your screen right now. Now let's do a little thinking. You have a very big problem yeah, maybe with your brother. There's a family issue that needs to be discussed. And during this very serious peace meeting, yeah, you interrupt the peace discussions so that you can discuss with the Mama Boga concerning the bill you're disputing. Yeah, she distributed groceries to your house and you think she overcharged you. And you asked her to come over, yeah, not even to your house, to come over to the family homestead, yeah, so that you may discuss this overbilling. I think you get my drift. Yeah. This is clear evidence that what we saw yesterday was nothing more than just a photo opportunity, yeah, with certain objectives in mind. And we shall discuss those objectives shortly. Yeah, meanwhile, let's look at something else. The initial meeting, because there were several meetings yesterday, by the way, the initial meeting behind closed doors only had the president, his deputy, and the head of the public service, Joseph Kinyo. Only those three were present. Yeah, others were summoned later. So what could that be about? Now, next Thursday, the president is due to address parliament. Yeah, his usual State of the Nation address. And the way things are going, there's a very high possibility that he could be heckled by die-hard supporters of the deputy president, yeah, mostly from the Rift Valley. And so I'm speculating, because nobody was in the room, I'm speculating that this came up in discussions. And the president may have said, William, let's keep these politics out of the State of the Nation address. Yeah, it's to the whole nation. Yeah, partisan politics should not come in. Something else I know must have come up for discussion is the recent boycott of presidential functions by the deputy president. For instance, the deputy president was conspicuously absent, yeah, during the recent swearing in of the new Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha. At the same ceremony, the new Commissioner General of the Kenya Prison Service, Wycliffe Ogalo, was also sworn in. It is widely believed that the deputy president deliberately boycotted this particular function. Now, it is very interesting that the Jubilee leadership, which was called in immediately after this closed-door meeting, must have read the situation completely wrongly. They probably read the situation in exactly the same way many Kenyans read it. Yeah, a peace meeting of sorts, a meeting to iron out differences within the Jubilee party. Now, the Jubilee party parliamentary leadership that was summoned after the session included National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale, Majority Whip Benjamin Washiali, and Defense and Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Katu Ole Mitito. Now, Aden Duale, and this is very interesting, Aden Duale immediately suggested that a full parliamentary group meeting of the Jubilee Party is called. The objective being to iron out, all the differences within the party, so that the party speaks as one going forward, and they stop confusing Kenyans. The president's response to that was very firm and very much unlike him, because the people within Jubilee are used to a president, who even if he suggests something that is not for, he will respond and explain in detail why he does not want the party to go that way. But instead, the president firmly said, no such meeting will take place. Instead, he directed the majority leader to call a Kamkunji, a meeting of all Jubilee members of parliament. And the purpose of that meeting will be to rally internal unity ahead of next week's State of the Nation address in parliament. There you go. No heckling, no drama. This is really what the president is directing Duale to organize. Now. This is super interesting and I believe very instructive. The long and short of what I'm trying to say is that those incidences that I've taken note of, are the ones you should focus on if you want to read this particular meeting, which has puzzled and perplexed many Kenyans. If you want to read it correctly, that's what you should focus on. Now, meanwhile, there is drama, concerning this idea of impeaching the deputy president. Momentum is gathering, believe it or not. And I shall discuss that in part 2 of this video. It is interesting that after I made my video yesterday about this impeachment manenos, I took in quite a lot of other interviews done in the media concerning the same topic with politicians all over the place. And it was very interesting that none of these interviews I saw supported my position in the video I made yesterday. All of them were saying impossible, daydreaming, premature, etc., etc. Well, let's look in part 2 what is really happening behind the scenes in connection to this. Don't miss it. And of course we'll go into it immediately after the brief upcoming break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, I want us to start this analysis of what is going on with the impeachment, with what a man called Honorable Joshua Kutuni said. Of course, this is a Cherangani legislator. But I also want you to remember that Joshua Kutuni was an advisor to the president, a very close advisor between 2013, after he lost his parliamentary seat, between 2013 and 2017. And so, what this man says cannot be brushed aside. He's an insider of sorts. He knows exactly what's happening behind the scenes. And even if you look at his record, Kutuni does not normally speak without knowing what he's talking about. He's very cautious. And in recent times, he appears to be firmly in the team of the handshake. And it seems that he has been given certain tasks, things to do, to push forward the handshake agenda. This is what Joshua Kutuni has to say about this impeachment of the deputy president. And I quote, "The impeachment push is a reality that should not be ignored." End of quote. And then he went on to give reasons, that will that will back up, this impeachment process. Reasons for the deputy president to be impeached. Number 1, fighting the DCI. That's the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Okay. Number 2, making false statements. I don't know what he means. Is it the 7 billion versus 21 billion? Who knows? Number 3, contradicting the government and misleading the country. And then he went on to elaborate. He said the deputy president has been speaking at cross purposes with the president and making statements that have later turned out to be false. To quote his exact words, We are dealing with someone who has been misleading the country. In other jurisdictions, he would have resigned. End of quote. And yet another quote from Kutunyi. I quote again. It is not clear whether he is working for the benefit of the nation or to the detriment of the country. The issues are weighty matters that can be very debatable. End of quote. And so I need to ask, in your view, do you think this is something that will go away? After a lunchtime meeting between the president and his deputy? I don't think so. But something else has also been happening. Members of parliament, who are for impeachment, have been meeting. Now it is said these anti-Ruto legislators met at a Nairobi hotel on Monday night. And together with them were two top constitutional lawyers. Now, one of the MPs who was at the meeting was quoted as saying, and I quote, "We met and started our preliminary literature review to frame the charges, together with the gleaning of evidence. It can't be a one-day matter, but will take a few weeks or months." End of quote. And what has become very clear is that what those trying to impeach the deputy president are doing are anchoring the impeachment on gross misconduct and a violation of the Constitution. That's what they're focusing on. Folks, the long and short of this is that this is not just hot air. There's something really going on here, and it should not surprise anybody. In the video I made yesterday, you'll remember I said that this is something which started a long time ago. Just ask yourself a simple question. Bwana David Murathe has been rather quiet in recent times. What is he busy doing? I think the signs are very clear, and they're there for anybody who wants to read them. Now, I've heard people saying that James Orengo, who kicked off this entire storm, was speaking at a funeral somewhere deep in the rural areas. And therefore, some people are saying, Orengo did not have anything to talk about, and therefore he decided to cause drama, to say something interesting that would make the public sit up and pay attention. And therefore, off the top of his head, he started talking about impeaching the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And to become even more convincing, these people are reminding us that in the 90s, James Orengo, who was then a member of parliament, actually attempted to impeach retired President Daniel Arap Moi, and the motion made it to the floor of the House. And so, these people are insinuating Orengo likes the drama of impeachments. Well, I don't agree. When Orengo tried to impeach retired President Daniel Arap Moi in the 90s, the situation and the circumstances were very different then. I remember it held the whole country spellbound. Everybody wanted to know what was happening in Parliament. I also remember, because I listened on that day as Orengo made his speech, Orengo sounded very nervous. He stammered. He lost his train of thought. He was obviously very nervous, and I've never been able to explain why. Maybe the gravity of what he was doing dawned on him as he was on the floor of Parliament. Because Kenya was a very different country in those days. And of course, Orengo's impeachment effort failed miserably. Of course, money was used by the government then to ensure that things did not get out of hand in Parliament. And I'm talking money going towards opposition legislators. You know, one thing about Moi, in case you never knew, he never ever left anything to chance. Never ever. After he had put his carefully thought out and planned action into motion, Moi would still have a plan B, C, D, E up to Z. That was Moi for you. Anyway, back to the impeachment of DP Ruto. Yeah. Now, my friends and those on this channel, let me assure you, this is not the last we've heard of this. Yeah. This impeachment process will go far. Yeah. Of course, I have my doubts as to whether it will be successful. But what I can assure you is that it will go far. It is definitely not hot air. Yeah, that one you can be sure of. My wild guess is that it could be used to weaken the deputy president. Yeah, because one of the major headaches for those who are against the deputy president is the fact that he still appears to have quite a lot of support in parliament, which should not surprise anybody. Because if you're a member of parliament who is a kifaranga cha computer, yeah, your election was pop, 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 yeah, courtesy of the deputy president, you are rigged in, you owe your seat to the deputy president, it's very difficult to abandon him, yeah, because without him, you'd not be in parliament. I want to remind you that Bwana David Murathe, vice chair of the Jubilee party, has told us very clearly that those elected in Jubilee, especially from Central Province, were elected courtesy of the deputy president. He messed up the party primaries, yeah, and kicked out some very good legislators, some very popular legislators. And so, when I say that most of the supporters of the deputy president, yeah, maybe in fact almost all in Central Province, are vifaranga via computer, yeah, then I'm basing that on credible information from none other than the former vice chair of the Jubilee party, David Murathe, yeah, who should know. He was an insider at the time. He could see exactly what was happening on the inside. But I also want you to know that some of these vifaranga via computer have already crossed the floor. They've abandoned the deputy president, yeah, for survival. Yeah, maybe the file that was waved against them was a serious one. Anyway, coming back to my point, the whole purpose of this impeachment is probably to show the supporters of the deputy president that these guys are serious. Yeah, that this ship of the deputy president must be sunk, yeah, by his opponents. And therefore anybody on the ship had better abandon ship on time, yeah, before it actually sinks. Because if you sink with the ship, obviously things will not be good for you. I think this is the message behind the impeachment. Yeah, but again, I want to emphasize, that's my wild guess. I don't have any information, but I'm trying to read the situation on the ground. And that's the conclusion I'm coming to. And of course, I'm not ruling out, yeah, this is very important, I'm not ruling out the opponents of the deputy president going all the way. Yeah, of course, it's a process. First, it has to appear on the floor of the House, which is not a problem. Yeah, because the speaker is Justin Muturi. We know which side he is on. Yeah, and then it has to be voted on. Yeah, and if the vote is won, it then goes to the Senate. And the Senate is a much smaller house than the National Assembly. That is where the government has an advantage. Yeah, because smaller numbers, easier to do things. Yeah, let me just leave it at that. And then consider all the mad, yeah, all the crazy things that will have been revealed about the deputy president by the time this debate gets to the Senate. It should be so damaging that the deputy president may have no other option but to resign. Yeah. Indeed, there are those political analysts who are saying that the best option for the deputy president, yeah, to avoid the embarrassment and to avoid his reputation being destroyed, yeah, in the eyes of the public, the best option for him would be to resign, yeah, and then continue his fight from outside the Jubilee government. That's what many people are saying. And I tend to agree, yeah, looking at it politically. If I was on the deputy president's side, that would be my best option. Because, make no mistake about it, these people are serious. These anti-DP Ruto people, they're serious. And then most importantly, there's God Almighty. We know God Almighty is moving in Kenya. We don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. So this is going to be quite a chaotic and very interesting time in the politics of Kenya. Yeah. And I trust that God will keep me here on this channel to keep you up to speed. Yeah, so that you don't lose your way. Yeah, with the public photo opportunities. Put there to totally confuse you and to make you dizzy. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.